operations. So the bottom line, and what's on the screen now, I want to explain that quickly. These are localized, quote, weather modification operations that are designed as a smokescreen to mask the unfathomably larger climate intervention operations. So picture
what it do. It's your boy Blue, and I'm back with another video, and we're gonna be tuning in to YouTube to this guy. I don't really know his name, but we're gonna tune into it. And y'all remember me always telling y'all about how I be always looking in the sky, taking pictures of the clouds, seeing that the clouds fake, telling y'all about this, about the weather. They doing this with been telling y'all that. Plus, I showed y'all the pattern.
Bottom line is these storms are being steered, period. The degree to which the climate system has been derailed by these operations is total at this point. So the bottom line is we have an industry that, in the case of the federal weather modification or weather disseminating agencies, are being gagged. And in case of the local meteorologists, they're just concerned about their paychecks and pensions. And Alex, they're literally reading scripts. The skies you see right there in that video are so typical in so many regions. And we have the local meteorologists days in advance, sometimes a week in advance, stating that a day will be mostly sunny or filtered sunshine. And that's filtered sunshine. How would that meteorologist know a week in advance that there's going to be aerosol spraying operations on those days unless they're reading a script? This is a virtual fight for life. We cannot hide from what they're dispersing in our skies. It's not only disrupting, derailing the planet's life support systems, including the ozone layer, hydrological cycle. It's contaminating virtually everything on the planet, every breath we take. But if we put a big enough break in the dam, Alex, that they can't plug, we will indeed cause a shockwave around the world as we awaken populations to what their government has been and is doing to them without their knowledge and consent. And this, again, goes back decades, Alice. We're not dealing with sanity. We're dealing with a headless, heartless, soulless cancer. These people are increasingly desperate to mask what can't be hidden for much longer. And that's what I would encourage those trying to share this most dire issue and the ridicule and resistance they get from family and friends. Know that this issue will be exposed. You can't hide this. You can't put it in the rearview mirror. It's getting bigger and more ominous in front of the windshield every day. They're becoming more bold with their weather actions because the public so far hasn't responded. Even when you have a hurricane like Helene, that again, there could be various objectives there. The Piedmont lithium mine in Piedmont in North Carolina, hemorrhaging hundreds of millions of dollars with DOD contracts coming due for that lithium, the landowners being a roadblock for them, and now those landowners have been washed away, literally. We have governments around the globe colluding and cooperating with this issue. In fact, so much so that we know we have historical records of Soviet climate modification scientists touring the U.S. at the height of the Cold War in the 60s, and our scientists going there. So whatever the surface tensions are between these nations, they have definitely been colluding and cooperating on climate engineering operations. So the bottom line, and what's on the screen now, I want to explain that quickly. These are localized, quote, weather modification operations that are designed as a smokescreen to mask the unfathomably larger climate intervention operations. So picture whatever particulate matter is going up on that screen, right, that's shown right now. You might have a few grams of material floating into the sky. Compare that with a KC-135 military tanker that's dumping 100 tons of toxic nanoparticles in one payload. So again, we have a power structure that's tried to mask the climate engineering operations with, quote, weather modification operations that are publicized, that are known. The single engine propeller driven aircraft, many times, Alex, with a few flares on the wings that might drop, in that case, 5 kilos of material into the sky. Again, compare that with a KC-135 that will dump 100 tons in a single payload. In fact, Alex, we've extrapolated, I'll leave with this, but we've extrapolated based on our testing. It took a NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, flying lab to altitude, which no private party will ever get access to again. That was a set of extenuating circumstances and great expense for us. But we took that to altitude with top scientists. It's all in the Deming documentary. We sampled what heavy aircraft were emitting. We processed that at Rensselaer Polytechnic in New York, world-renowned lab, found what we knew we would find, starting with aluminum nanoparticles. So working with University of Minnesota with hundreds of lab tests, we have extrapolated what the likely global dispersion of these elements is, and that's about 40 to 60 million tons annually. So is it any wonder, Alex, that every other commercial on TV is asthma this, COPD that, respiratory everything? And yes, there's pollution. We recognize that. We're not denying that. But when you have this intentional dumping of nanoparticles that are extremely inflammatory to the respiratory systems of toxic elements, aluminum, barium, strontium, manganese, polymer fibers, surfactants, there's HAARP that you're showing now. And that HAARP is an ionosphere heater. It's directional. They can bounce that signal off the atmosphere and bring it down. And
most environmentalists today focus on climate, and climate is a real issue.